Brought to you by DIS, keeping companies connected with cloud-based solutions. Come on, City.
Stuart, congratulations on Saturday's performance. How pleased were you with the response of your squad following Monday?
Yeah, we obviously, when you have a disappointing performance and disappointing result, you want to bounce back as soon as you can. And we were fortunate we did that on Saturday with obviously a good 3 points. Anyway, victories, one that you want to take, but also, the performance was pleasing naturally as well.
What do you put that down to, the performance?
We got off to a good start. Then we obviously we're fortunate that their goalkeeper make an error, but you just want to perform as well as you can. Don't put it down to any one particular thing. Just work hard, and the confidence was there from the players. So it's nothing. It's what you work all week for and train hard all week for, is to put in good performances, and thankfully we did that on Saturday.
The 4-4-2 formation that it seemingly looked like you went with for the majority of the game, was that as a result of the knocks that you'd had last week, or was it always going to be the plan?
No, Jamie, it was never a 4-4-2 in a month of Sundays, but I had to smile actually, because my son sent me a text from America. He couldn't get the game because he normally watches it on the iFollow, but he couldn't get it. But I told him in the morning or the night previously how we were going to set up. And obviously he'd seen some things on Twitter that we were 4-4-2. And he actually just texted me, "Why did you change your mind, Dad?" So I had to go into a long spiel that I'd never changed my mind. And we played exactly the way we were going to set out to play, which was a 3 against 3 in the middle of the park, 2 up front with Dylan wide. So, yeah, it was a 4-3-3, if you like, different adaptation. But it was never a 4-4-2.
The key being to it, then, I guess, is the width that you had in that game, which was clear to see. Mm-hmm. How pleasing was that? And also, is that something that you'll look to try and take forward now?
Always. We spoke before the Harrogate game that regardless if we're playing wing backs or we're playing full backs, we want them up high, putting crosses in. And I think over the aspects of everything, keep going back to the Harrogate game, was the fact that we didn't get as fullbacks high as we wanted to. And then, I spoke to Woody and told him and showed him clips against when we played Huddersfield the first half, even though we were playing wing backs then, how many crosses he put into the box. And that's what we wanted for his wide men, fullbacks, wing backs, wingers, whatever it is to give some service to the strikers. And, he played 20 yards further up, but we wanted them both fullbacks to play high against Harrogate, but it didn't materialise that way. So, yeah, it was exactly what we thought. We knew that they were going to be wing backs. So Woody would be one wing back, one full back against their wing back, and we'd try to have 2 for 1 down the right, with Dylan taking their left wing back further back and Bryce getting on the ball, which happened quite often. And then the times that their wing back did come on to Bryce, it left Dylan up against their left centre back. So it was, listen, managers, me personally, will get formations wrong at times. I'll get tactics wrong. I'll get substitutions wrong. I'll get a lot of things wrong. It's life. It's football. I'm sure Sir Alex Ferguson got 1 or 2 things wrong. But I'd like to think we'll get more than most right. And for all the chat about last week against Harrogate, yeah, we didn't perform. The system we played didn't work, and we didn't perform individually. On Saturday, we performed well. We were happy how we played, and we've got to take on the next game. But again, we lost Harrogate because we were rotten, not because Harrogate were very good apparently. Likewise, we won on Saturday because Mansfield were rotten and we were okay. It depends how you look at things. And that's the society we live in, and that's football, and that's the way things are. But we just focus on what we can affect, and we worked really hard. We were massively disappointed last week, as everybody was, but that's football. I still think we can probably go on and maybe lose 10 more league games this season and still end up getting where we want to go. So for all the doom and gloom and despondency, yeah, of course we were hurting. But we put in a decent performance on Saturday. But we've got to go and then put in a consistent performance against a good side on Tuesday night. But just as we weren't down and out after blooming 4 games, losing a home game as first league game of this season. Likewise, we're not swinging from the rafters and thinking we're brilliant because we've won an away game. It's football. It's the business we're in at the moment, and with forums and media and Twitter and all that. I mean, the outcry up in Scotland now for Neil Lennon to be axed after getting beat in an Old Firm game, which may add, I'm absolutely delighted they did get beat. I think it's, it's just, listen, that's what it is. That's what it is, and we deal with that. But we don't get affected with the noise outside, whether we win, lose or draw. We can only focus on what we do on the training pitch, work as hard as we possibly can to bring this football club success, and that's what we'll continue to do.
It's interesting you mentioned that noise, and it's something that we've discussed as well on air. Is it compiled by the fact that maybe fans can't get into the grounds and there's maybe a build-up of frustration and they have to sit at home in their front rooms and it all just kind of digests from there?
Yeah, I think possibly. I think that is probably the case. Everybody wants to be at the game, and also just with the way the world is at the moment, and certainly us going back into certain lockdowns and things, a lot of frustration out there. So the light at the end of the tunnel is your football club sometimes, and going and watching them and putting on good performances. So when we have a performance like we did the other night, there's naturally a lot of despondency. But we can't affect that. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everybody, be it a 15-year-old kid who plays FIFA, be it a retired doctor, be it somebody who drives taxis all his life, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Of course they are. But I've been in the game 40 years as a professional. I think I know a little bit about the game. And, we'll continue to strive to work hard and be the best we possibly can, day in, day out, week in, week out.
Focusing on the things that you can control. And you mentioned the hurt that the players were feeling. Then as a manager, how encouraging is it that they use that as a motivation? We spoke to both Bryce and Clayton now since the result, and both have said how in the back of all the players' minds, they felt that the Harrogate defeat was their main driving force in Saturday's performance.
Yeah. You obviously want to go out and put, the next game you get a chance to put in a good performance. It's easy to say that naturally when you win the game, and it's, things work from there. But because that's what football's about. End of the day, you want good performances, which inevitably hopefully give you good results. But it's about winning, isn't it, to most people? I've been at clubs or in seasons where, as long as you see you're going in the right way, the performance is good, then results will come. There's times you can nick performances without good results, and that can only last so long. So we won't. I said before, even after the Harrogate game, we've had a solid start. We've lost one league game, albeit in them circumstances that nobody wanted to. But we know, as I said, now Saturday's gone. We'll take the positives from it. We'll look at the negatives, which were the few. Too many free headers in our box from set players, giving sometimes some silly free kicks away. But there are a lot of positives, a lot of good football that we played. We could have scored and should have scored a lot more. We know that. We should have been a bit more ruthless. But the actual way and we created openings and the goals we scored was very encouraging.
Obviously now backing that up is even more important tomorrow evening.
Yeah, against the side who are unbeaten. Yeah. So it's not, Walsall are coming, you beat Mansfield the way you should win at home. That's our intention, naturally. But they're on the back of an undefeated run of results since the season started. Darrell's done really well with them. They've got a confident group there. Kenny went to watch them last week, beat Orient 2-1, and he came back and says, yeah, very good. Obviously drew on Saturday against Exeter. Their away games, they drew at Forest Green 1 each, drew at Harrogate 2-all. So, yeah. But we're aware of where their strengths are. But again, it's about what we do. We always, focus on ourselves. And we've just got to go out and try to put in a real positive performance that hopefully gets a positive result.
I know you won't want to give too much away, but given the fact now that we're into that Saturday, Tuesday nature of the season for a short while, is it inevitable that you'll have to change things up, or in an ideal world, would you like to try and keep it the same as it is?
Yeah, it's one. We've not named the team this morning. We normally try to do it because it's been a quick turnaround. I've seen Walsall. I've had a couple of looks at them, but I'll have another look this afternoon. I've watched our game back a couple of times. And just what worked well or what was right formation-wise and personnel-wise for the shape against Mansfield shape doesn't necessarily mean be the same against Walsall. So it is horses for courses. But you've got, there's a lot of balancing acts. You try to keep a winning team as much as you can without changing too much. Obviously, lads that are had a confident performance. But likewise, you look at not any fatigue because we've not in a massive run of Saturday, Tuesday yet. But there's a couple of things we might freshen up. But like I say, that's one we'll discuss this afternoon. And for the first time in a while, we've not named the team the day before. But sometimes when it's a Saturday, Tuesday, we tend not to do that anyway.
You've got Pordy back. That's a definite now after his suspension. How big a boost is that for you?
Yeah, good, because I think he started the season really well, in a confident manner. And even in the game against Wolves, I thought he was very good in the game he could play in. He's trained really well. He was in again on Saturday morning, getting ready for, to be available for Tuesday. But I had a good chat with Pordy when he was over in Ireland when we were, locked down, before we come back. And, I just need to, impress on everyone really how important this season was, but especially for himself. He didn't, have as good a season last year as he'd done previously. But, since he's been back in, he's worked really hard and he's a good type. And yeah, but it's good to have him back.
How's he found that spell on the sidelines with a 3-match suspension in what was a difficult sending off, wasn't it, at Forest Green for him?
He's just got to get his head down and work hard and work as hard as he can in training and do the extra bits because he's not getting the minutes in the games. As I said, we were fortunate that he could play in that cup competition. What I was going to call it, Checker Trade, but whatever it's called nowadays, EFL Trophy. I can't remember what it's called.
EFL Trophy.
EFL Trophy. There you go. Yeah. We haven't got a sponsor, have we? I don't think so. But it was good that he had that game and kept his sharpness and that. So it's good to have him back available.
Bodies wise, injury front, Staunton and Sutton were out of the match day squad on Saturday. Is Tuesday a reality for either of those, or is it maybe too soon?
No, I think overall, just going to count up. Obviously, Saturday we had 4 out injured and 1 suspended. Although the team that we played Saturday in the formation was one that we were always going to play. But Evo's out running. I think he'll be probably at 10 days. We're hoping Zelly is a bit ahead of him, out running and doing a little bit of ball work today. Should join in with us Thursday, maybe. I think Reese will be at the Thursday mark as well, after going over his ankle and rolling his ankle. And Levi just got a little calf niggle, probably be another 7 to 10 days. So all be back in the next week or two, but nobody back available, I wouldn't have thought, for tomorrow night.
Okay. And other than that, everyone else came away unscathed on Saturday?
They did, yeah. A few tired bodies after the game, naturally, but they've had a lot of rest. They've only done a light session this morning. The other boys who didn't play had a bit of 5-a-side, got some good work into them, but finished with a bit of crossing and finishing. So, as you can imagine, the difference in the mood since, a result changes everything. But it's only one result. Like Harrogate was only one poor result. This is one decent result. And we just got to get his heads down. It's a long, long season. As I said, we'll win, lose and draw as we go along. But as long as we know what our focus is, we'll strive to be the best we can. Finally,
Stuart, one thing I wanted to ask you about, just going back to no fans being in the ground, the handful that we've had of this season thus far, and there's a lot of talk in the Premier League about all the goals that are flying in the frantic start, and that the home and away advantage may not be a thing given the fans aren't present. What's your take on it? How have you found it now that you've had a bit of experience with it?
Yeah, it's probably a fair comment that you won't have as much advantage as you do at home. And there's little things that are different. For example, on Saturday at Mansfield, like it was at Forest Green, we had to get changed in a suite. Kevin Bird's suite, who used to be a player for Mansfield, and we're in a basically suite and getting changed in chairs and things like that. I think Mansfield had the home and away dressing rooms, so it was normal for them. But we came down outside the park. So little things like that are different. But obviously without the supporters, I think it's been alluded to already. Imagine having 2,500 Bradford fans there on Saturday and putting a performance in like that would have been a great lift. But likewise, coming back to Tuesday night, if we could have had 12,000, 15,000 in, naturally it's in our favour. And we'll probably miss it more than most clubs at this level because of the massive support that we do get. And only looking at the weekend, a couple of derby games I've been fortunate to play in, Liverpool, Everton, Rangers, Celtic, to watch them games without any supporters and have no atmosphere at all is massively disappointing, naturally. But that's where we are at the moment. We've got to deal with it, just like we've got to deal with an empty Valley Parade. But as everyone says, so naturally, sooner the better we can get back to get some support and get some atmosphere in the ground, the better.
Go well tomorrow, Stuart. Cheers.
Cheers, thank you.
As you mentioned, the derbies there, particularly the Liverpool-Everton one, there was a lot of VAR controversy around it again. Is that something you're glad you don't have at this level with the way it's going at the moment?
Yeah, I would say only for the reason, Pete, is that you get a goal now and you're trying to celebrate. I mean, I don't celebrate goals much anyway because there's always long times to go in the games unless it's the fourth one going in or something. But yeah, managers are frightened to, or players even. It's a case of, I mean, I saw the goal, the Liverpool goal, they scored in last minute again. Being an Evertonian, hey, I would delight it won't give him, but ridiculous not to get a goal given for that. But you see celebrations for goals, and then it's getting pulled back for VAR. I think some of the offside decisions in the handballs, it's minuscule. The gone of the days when the forwards used to get the advantage, because that's what punters, when they get back into the grounds, want to see goals. You get more celebration when crowds were in. You get more celebration from fans cheering that a goal's not been given than you do when the goal's been scored. It's disappointing.
And obviously, no fans. And with the way it looks like it's going, there could be further restrictions. Is that something you're already looking at and what it will mean for the club?
I mean, we on a daily basis are still preaching about the keeping his distance, because listen, you've seen it all up and down the country, a lot of non-league sides, especially, and in Scotland, that I think Forest Green had 2 or 3 on Saturday. We saw Tranmere last week have 2. It's not the 1 or 2 that get it, it's the one that have been in close contact, then 4 or 5 of them have got to miss out. So you're having 7 or 8 players. So it might come a stage that 1 or 2 of our lads get it. But as long as we keep the social distance and keep washing, keep the space, keep washing his hands, doing everything right, I think we've only got one pair that car share. When we go on a bus or the coach, there's no card tables and no facing each other. When we go away to eat, we're on different tables. So we've got to make sure that if and when the time comes up, one of us, does get this virus, then it's only 1 or 2 self-isolating and not half of the team. So we're on at that every day, making sure, because you do get a bit relaxed naturally and you want to chat with your mates and that, but we're outdoors most of the time. I think the lads are doing yoga now, big gym. Normally we'd have all 20 lads in there. It's now been split into 8s or 10s, massive difference. So we've got to be aware of that all the time.
I suppose for yourself and Kenny as well. We saw with Harrogate, the opposition there couldn't have their coach and their deputy there because they had COVID, or had tested positive.
Where's that, Pete? Sorry.
I think I can't remember which team it was now. I think it's who Harrogate were playing. Barrow. It was Barrow. They couldn't have their coach and the deputy there because they tested positive.
That's right.
So
yeah,
I suppose for you, it makes it more difficult if you were to test positive.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, having said that, you saw David Moyes, he missed 2 games for West Ham and they got 2 victories. I suppose they were watching the game yesterday at half time or 5 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go, thinking, I wish I was still at home with COVID, David Moyes. And then wham, bang, thank you, ma'am, 3 goals for West Ham. So, but yeah, it is. It's a concern for everyone, and we've all got to be aware of it. Obviously, first and foremost, you're concerned for people's health, naturally, that do get it. But in a football perspective, yeah, it's a bit, what's the word? You're not looking after things right or doing things correctly. If 1 or 2 get it and you've got to self-isolate half or 10 of your team or something, then obviously that means you're not doing things right. So we've got to keep the protocols, keep doing what we're doing, and then concentrate what we do on the park.
Cheers. Good luck tomorrow night.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, Stuart, you were saying obviously about the home advantage thing. I mean, normally you go into this week thinking, we got back-to-back home games here, Valley Parade, let's get some points on the board. And it's a very different sort of dynamic, isn't it, in the sense of the way you're preparing? Exactly, it is. And even stopping yourself sometimes thinking, let's go out and get the crowd behind you. You're still almost in that routine, but we know that's not the case. But exactly, you're thinking, right, 2 home games now, let's go make the most. And we're still thinking that, obviously, we still want to go, but without having the backing of the 15,000 behind us, which we know would be huge. But yeah, we've come to live with it. We get on with it, and we're looking forward naturally to a difficult game, but one that we believe
we can go and, you know, impress our system, whichever that may be, on them, and hopefully do well.
And you say, so is there such a thing as home advantage at all now, would you say, currently, for anybody?
Is there a what? Sorry, Simon.
So is there such a thing as home advantage at all for anybody at this current moment, would you say?
It doesn't look like it. Like I said, the only certain things is away teams maybe have not got this. I mean, it's after the game, so it doesn't matter. But from where we were on one side of the ground the other night or the other day against Mansfield, and if the weather had been poorer, but 4 of our lads had to walk down to the opposite side of the ground to have the showers and that, and then come back and things. So we could only have 4 in the showers at a time, and it's just not normal, really. But it's more so from an away side, doing things like getting changed in a suite on chairs and stuff like that. But listen, it's what we did as kids, and you just get on with it. But yeah, it's certainly still strange. But we're fortunate that we're managing to still go out and play football with everything. A lot of things getting closed down left, right, and centre. At least the game's continuing, albeit with no supporters.
So I think I was reading the stat. I think there's been more away wins than home wins in League Two slightly at the moment, which sort of backs that up, doesn't it? You know, in a way that, you know, teams perhaps, again, the Valley Parade scenario, obviously they're not coming to a ground where it's going to be a lot of crowd there and thinking, oh, this is quite intimidating. You sort of everything's on a level, isn't it?
Yeah, you speak to any manager when you see him after the games and chat with him. The first thing you say when, you know, since I've been here and the second time was here, you know, let's keep the crowd quiet for the first 20 minutes. It's like anyway, it's like, you know, you went away in Europe and that, whatever it may be, you try to silence the warm crowd. It's natural. Some stadiums or places at our place don't have much of an atmosphere, but you know, it's one thing you can't say about our place. It's you know, it's been rocking in the times we've been here. So yeah, slight disadvantage, but it is what it is, and we crack on.
Brought to you by DIS, keeping companies connected with cloud-based solutions. Come on, City.